I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the 2025 Dubois Golf Team Banquet, Awards Banquet. I appreciate you. We're going to kind of go through this and kind of help everybody kind of get in. Right now we're doing good because the snow's not falling yet, so that's a good thing. I know you don't want to go to school, Josiah, but I want to at least say thank you to my parents, because without the village, you know, I'm a big fan of the village since the first day I had it, and it's all about the parents helping us do what we do, and you entrusting us with your pride possession, your sons, and I hope that Coach Hamilton and I carry that banner. I was going to take a shot at my Michigan fans, but I won't. Carry that banner and make you proud of not only us, but your son and our program. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Coach Hamilton.
Thank you, Coach Mack. Yeah, this season, 2025, I want to thank, just pick it back off of what Coach Mack said. I know this was an extremely hot summer that we had, and all the sacrifices and everyone coming out and dealing with the weather and trying not to pass out or anything. So that was incredible, but the progress that was made this year and moving forward, I can't thank you all enough. So we're going to start with the introduction of the players, beginning with our seniors, Mr. Levi Morgan.
Just stand up.
Stand up. Mr. Justin Lee. Okay. And we've got sophomore. That's not all right. You know, yeah, I'm looking at you. Yeah. Mr. Josiah Fleming. A round of applause. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Mr. Isaiah Koger. Okay. Mr. Zachary Lacey. Our 8th grader, Tayo Okebana. And even though he's not able to make it tonight, our 6th grader, Terrell, because he's under the weather, so he's here in spirit. So I present to you the 2025 Dubois Academy Golf Team. So moving along, first of all, we are so pleased to have with us tonight Mr. Maurice Sweeney, who was the youngest child of the late Dr. Pruitt P.O. Sweeney. Dr. Sweeney was a dentist, businessman, and civil rights leader who, during the height of segregation in Louisville in the 1930s and 50s, helped challenge the discriminatory laws and policies in this city and housing, our public parks, and the public golf courses that we all use today. We probably never heard about the many people who made it possible for us to eat at local restaurants, go to any movie theater, and even play at the metro parks that we do today, like Cherokee, Iroquois, Seneca, and our home course, Shawnee. But tonight we will learn about one such man who made it possible for us to play at those metro golf courses. Maurice Sweeney, like his father, was a successful businessman, ex-farmer, and civil rights worker advocate for almost 50 years. A graduate of Eastern High School and Eastern Kentucky University, he's married to Jeanette Sweeney and is a father and grandfather. Mr. Sweeney's career of service included working for the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights, First National Bank, and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. As a contractor and consultant, his company helped build many structures in Louisville, including U of L's football and basketball facilities, the expansion of the baseball field, Iroquois Amphitheater, Brownsboro Hospital, and the design of the new downtown bridge, just to name a few. Mr. Sweeney has served on over 30 boards and commissions and is on the board of the Human Relations Commission. Following in his father's footsteps, who was elected president of the Louisville branch of the NAACP in 1936, Maurice Sweeney was the youngest person ever elected to serve as a branch president in 1983, and he has received many notable local recognitions. Until 1999, Mr. Sweeney ran his family's 324-acre cattle and dairy farm in eastern Jefferson County outside Middletown, which his father purchased in 1947. It is now known as Locust Creek Subdivision. To share a few of his father's many local, community, and civil rights contributions, please help me welcome Mr. Maurice Sweeney.
If I may, want to thank Mr. Hamilton and Coach Mack for allowing me the opportunity to talk a little bit about something that's dear to me, and that is how your golf team came to be and how it got to where it is, and how your program your team's effort is an extension of the struggle to achieve equality and should come from hard work and commitment. Let me take a moment to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for the achievements I'm about to talk about, and to recognize Sherry Hamilton, a longtime friend and one of the unheralded leaders in the civil rights movement in this community. But golf in Louisville is 130 years old. But for African Americans, they've only been able to play it for the past 78 years. Since 1913, African Americans have tried to have access to the public parks in Louisville. And many of the historians sometimes minimize or mischaracterize how we gained access to those efforts that my father, Dr. P.O. Sweeney, made by narrowing the scope to just playing golf or going to hear the opera at Iroquois Theater. It actually started in earnest in 1924 when two black teachers, Naomi Anthony, 24, and Margaret Taylor, 22, took their students to have a picnic and swing sets at Iroquois Theater. They were both arrested by the park guards because they did not know they were supposed to be in a for colored section only at Iroquois Park. Why? Because there was no signage, there was no policy, there was no law. Only in the black community was expected to be in an open field. The white community, for whites only, had the swing sets and facilities. So these teachers were arrested for a crime that didn't exist. And as a result of that, the black community got together, clergy, leaders, members at large, and they went to bat for these two teachers. And so Miss Anthony, she was fined $10. Miss Taylor was dismissed. Her charge was dismissed, and both of them, neither one of them were dismissed from teaching. By 1942, there was 50,000 black people in Louisville, and there was only 5 parks making up 129 acres that they could go to. However, there was 24 parks making up approximately 2,129 acres for whites only. There were 5 golf courses, but none of them were for blacks. They were for all whites only. And the important thing about this is that you've got all these parks, you got these golf courses that are being paid for with black people's tax dollars. They're being maintained with tax dollars, but they can't utilize the facilities. The oldest of these golf courses in Louisville was Cherokee Golf Course, built in 1895. And it was the 5th oldest, or the 5th public golf course built in America. It's right here in Louisville at Cherokee Golf Course. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dad. He was born in 1892 in Casey County, Kentucky. In 1947, he was a 55-year-old dentist living in Louisville. He had been the sports reporter for Kentucky State University before being expelled in 1914. He went on to finish his education at Simmons College. He was a Pullman porter for part of 9 years, was the first black teacher and principal at a colored school in Clinton, Kentucky. In 1917, he became an insurance salesman, a regional manager, before quitting, going to Meharry Medical School to graduate as a dentist in 1925. He did his postgraduate work at Ohio State University, University of Michigan, and USC. By 1947, he had won victories in and out of the courtroom. In 1938, as president of the NAACP and president of the Educational Equalization Committee, he led the fight to equalize the pay between black and white teachers. In Louisville, black teachers was making 15% less than white teachers doing the same thing. Out in the state, they were making as little as 53%. As a result of my dad's leadership, he was able to get all the teachers in Jefferson County, not just in Jefferson County, the same pay as white teachers, but also across the state, as well as be able to get women the same pay as men. So that was quite an accomplishment that nobody ever talks about. In 1939, he was president of Standard Realty Company. He became the named plaintiff to secure 19 acres, which he and his partners built 117 homes near Chickasaw Park. In 1945, he was president of Madison Square Roller Rink, believed to be the first roller rink for blacks in the South. In addition to being president of the Louisville branch NAACP, he was chairman of the board of Mammoth Life Insurance, chairman of the Louisville Urban League. And in 1952, he was racing his own thoroughbred horses at Churchill Downs. Before his death in 1960, he would own more than 500 acres in Jefferson County, including 29 acres in St. Matthews around Bowman Airfield, 75 acres that's now Arlington Meadows, and then 312 acres that's now Locust Creek. The year 1947 is very important because that was the year that Jackie Robinson breaks the color barrier for baseball, but it's also the time that two attorneys, Alfred Carroll, is no longer president of the NAACP and has taken the place by Jim Crumlin. Both of them have something else in common. Both of them are personal attorneys for my father. It was also a time that Dad had the audacity to sue the city of Louisville, as well as marry my mom in that August. So a lot of things were going on in 1947. Strategically, at the time, few, if any, black persons had as much success in the court system as Dr. Sweeney had. In addition, because of his early experience with the equalization of teachers' pay, he had a lot of networks, including in New York with the NAACP. Thurgood Marshall and him were in constant contact. The legal person and the mentor for Thurgood Marshall was a guy named Charles Houston. Charles Houston came up with the idea that if they want to go with the separate but equal way of separating the races, then let's let them go broke trying to do it. On June 26, 1947, Dr. Sweeney is denied opera tickets at the Iroquois Park Amphitheater, the same park where those two women were hired, were arrested. He thought he was going to. Iroquois Park was going to be opened up on July the 1st of that year. Of 1947, but because of construction, it was delayed for till the August. So on July the 3rd, Dad filed suit one day before we celebrated the 4th of July, the Day of Independence, he filed suit with the city of Louisville. Other attempts to do so had failed with using many mayors, talking to them, trying to get them to open up the public parks. They all failed. One of the things I want to do, I'm trying to keep from reading too much, but there are some things that you've got to hear what the court said, what the lawyer said, what the mayor said, because there was no social media at that time. It was just the newspaper and people talking amongst themselves. And I don't know any better way to give you the flavor of the day, the environment, the climate, what was going on for Dr. Sweeney to even attempt to do these things, other than be able to read to you what the judge said, to read to you what our eyes and ears, a gentleman named William Ely. And Mr. Ely was somebody that I was fortunate enough to meet back in the 70s. But Mr. Ely would tell stories. And I did not realize at the time that he'd been a reporter for the second black newspaper. You had the Louisville Defender, but before there was the Louisville Defender, there was the Louisville Leader. And Mr. Ely worked for both newspapers. But he quotes Mayor Leland Taylor, and he says that the mayor conceding legal and moral right of the Negroes to use all the parks, denied his permission on grounds that he was convinced that such freedom would incite a riot. He also was of the opinion that hoodlums of both races would have the opportunity to start trouble if they were able to go to the same park. The chief of police, he testified in court. In his opinion, permitting white and Negro citizens to play golf, attend the theater, and use the fishing lake and amusement facilities together would present a serious police problem and create a menace to the safety and welfare of people. The city's director of parks, he testifies, whereas it is the opinion of the park commissioners that it is neither desirable nor safe that the white people and the colored people of the city should take their pleasures together and use the same park, playground, swimming pool, and it is also their belief that in the way hereinafter set forth, the recreational plans of the board can best function and be carried out without injury or function between the races and with perfect equity to both. And remember, we're dealing with separate but equal. That's the law. That's Plessy versus Ferguson, passed in 1865. I'm sorry, 1895. On December 5th, 1947, the circuit judge is a guy named Judge Speckman. And he rules in favor of the city, saying that blacks cannot play on the public golf courses or go to the amphitheater. And he says, and this is straight out of the newspaper, he identifies Sweeney as a colored citizen and taxpayer. The judge ruled that the social equality between persons of the white and colored races could not be enforced by legislation or by the courts. But yet we know that Plessy versus Ferguson came from the courts. We know that Brown versus Education came from the courts. He says, yet that Judge Speckman says Dr. Sweeney's request that it was obvious that the rights attempted to be secured in this case was social and not political, that the plaintiff seeks to commingle with the members of the white race in the enjoyment of summer opera and to play golf with white persons in a park set aside for members of the white race. The courts further said that to grant the relief which the plaintiff seeks would compel white persons to associate with colored persons, whether it were to their pleasure or not. This would be an infringement on the rights of the white person who would object to being compelled to commingle with colored persons. He goes on to say, this is no way is this a reflection on the members of the colored race. For they have among their numbers many who have honored their race by their contributions to the higher arts and sciences. But the realistic fact remains. Likes attract likes, and it is just plain human nature for persons of the same taste and desires, whether they are black or white, to associate together for the purpose of enjoying themselves to the best advantage. If it were possible to grant the plaintiff the social relief he seeks, where should the line be drawn? So in the natural course of events, should the white race be compelled to accept into the enjoyment of its parks and amphitheaters with all its recreational facilities, the members of the colored race, and the white race moved out, and the colored race possess it, and net results would be that all the rights to the enjoyment of parks would be denied to the white race. The court also said that there was nothing preventing Dr. Sweeney from building his own golf course. And of course, Dad responded that he didn't want to play golf that bad. So he loses in the circuit court and then goes to the Court of Appeals. And Judge Roy Helm says the best solution of this problem, and that which has been proved to be the best for both the white and black race, is to provide separate facilities for both. Now, Mr. Ely then tells us, well, what's the people in the community saying? What are they thinking about this? So he says, a gathering of street-cornered philosophers were overheard discussing the pending park suit the other day in an attempt to minimize the courage of Dr. Sweeney. This group of possum and sweet potato lovers poo-pooed the militancy of the dentist by saying the suit will not cost him anything. The NAACP is paying for everything. May I publicly advise these men that anytime a Negro steps to the fore on anything involving race in the South, he is taking a chance with his worldly goods and his life as well. I cannot help but see a striking spiritual similarity between Dr. Sweeney's decision to serve as a guinea pig in this experiment and the zeal which sent a ragged newspaper man to the 1946 session of the Kentucky General Assembly. So now we're getting to the point where two cases are happening at the same time. At the same time that they're trying to make the parks available, Lyman Johnson is trying to go to the University of Kentucky. Judge Shobe tells me that it was my father that sent him to New York to prepare for both suits. And that he told me this 3 times. He said, and it was your father that sent me to New York. And he said that there was a conflict about the amount of money that it was taking to do both cases at the same time. Dad ends up having to pay for some of his legal counsel, whereas the association, the national office, waived the Louisville's office from having to pay their assessments over those years while they were doing it. Now all of a sudden those same possum-eating, sweet potato Negroes are now supporting my dad and saying that it's wrong. We've get national press from all over the country, from all the black newspapers in all the other cities. Newsweek, the December 22nd issue of the 1947 Newsweek has Dad in the paper, entitled Jim Crow in Kentucky. So all of this is happening, and now that despite the setback of the courts, keep in mind, they were playing chess while other people were playing checkers, because they knew all along they needed to lose in circuit court, they needed to lose in the Court of Appeals because they wanted to get to the federal courts, because that's where we'd always gotten our cases were always in federal court, and that's exactly what happened. in federal courts on September 14th, 1951, 4 years after Dad had first filed suit with the city. And it might also be interesting to know that Ebony Magazine says that when Dad first sued in 1947, that it was one of the first suits in the nation for public golf courses to be open. At any rate, by January 18th, Mayor Farnsley decides to open all the golf courses to all the blacks in the city, and blacks play. He opens the parks on January 18th. Black folks are playing golf on January the 19th, to show you how eager they were to play golf. And then, let me just say that, remember the apprehensions of the police chief, the apprehensions of the parks director and all of that? Well, in closing, let me say that there was a tournament in Seneca Park on July 2nd, 1953. The Defender reported that the black and white golfers should tip their hats to Dr. Sweeney. They played together for the first time in Louisville, and the black golfers had white caddies. They drank beer and ate together in the clubhouse. The fact that there were no police presence verified what everyone knew. A good time is not predicated on one's race or color, yet the main objective of making all public parks available to everyone was still missing. The golf tournament proved that the previous court's decisions based on the preconceived notions of the police chief was as scientifically and socially wrong as a racist sociologist always trying to determine that race rather than environment has anything to do with one's possibilities. Let me say that when they did lose on the lower courts, they changed strategy a little bit. They added another attorney named Benjamin Shobe. They added two other people, one named James Muir, who was also a U of L law school student, and Alfred Carroll's 16-year-old daughter, who also Dad went to play golf again, was denied. The next day, Muir goes to buy a ticket at the amphitheater, and Mona Carroll tries to fish at Cherokee Park and was thrown out. The courts finally said that you've got to either build Dr. Sweeney a golf course or open them up. They decided to open them all up because, remember, I talked about the fact that it would be too expensive for them to give a park just for black folks. On the other hand, they decided that the amphitheater was private, that the opera was privately done, so they didn't do anything about that. They didn't do anything. They said that the fishing was good enough at Chickasaw. And basically, they still didn't open up the parks to everybody until 1954, after Brown versus Board of Education. But it does show that that's what happened. Finally, let me say that what we did here in Louisville goes beyond just Louisville, because out of the state, I was told in 2022, I had a doctor from Murray call me up and tell me that, did you know that because of the lawsuit in Louisville, that Kentucky became the first state in the South to have a state public park for black folks, and it was down at Marshall County on the shores of Lake Barkley. Was the first black state park for black folks in the South. Let me conclude, because I know we've got a lot going on. So let me just say that the fight for you to play golf was not something that just happened overnight. It took years in the process, and that I really want to thank you all for doing what you're doing. The Kentucky Historical Society has decided that they're going to put a historical marker to my father at Cherokee Park. And once we know when that date's going to be and when the unveiling's going to be, I would love for you as students and your class and to be able to be at that unveiling and be part of that unveiling in some way. I don't know when it's going to be. If it happens in the summer, then we'll just go ahead and play 9 holes of golf. But it's going to be right next to the clubhouse at Cherokee. So with that, I'll let you all get on with your program, and I thank you. I thank Coach Mack and Hamilton.
I want to thank you, Mr. Sweeney, for speaking with us today. And it goes back to what I talk about all the time with my players. Remember the history lessons where we talked about the greatest, one of the greatest. I mean, Jack is still the man, but Tiger, based on what he did to the game of golf, and did for the game of golf, people put him up in the category of being one of the greatest golfers. And you know, Tiger did something, and what really made me think about with Mr. Sweeney was I watched the documentary Tiger. And Tiger, one of the things that Tiger talked about was when he was young, at 13 and 14, he could actually beat most men playing golf. But a lot of times, he wasn't allowed, and this is Tiger Woods. This is not, we're not talking in the 1965s, 1940s. This is Tiger Woods, somebody that we all can relate to. You guys can relate to. He's still a baby to me, but just that it hasn't that far. He could not go into certain clubhouses. They didn't want him to be in certain clubhouses. So that's why I just want to give you a little bit of example of why we study how we came to this point. And I believe young men today, we get so focused on football and basketball because that's the big money makers for companies. But we lose the fact that in golf, it's a great opportunity. And I hope that you young men continue to pursue that, because that is a great opportunity that goes well beyond just playing the game. So without further ado, Ms. Larisha, you are the first one to do our presentation.
All right, well, my name is Larisha, yes, and I'm going to present the first nominee here for Most Improved Golfer. So this award, oh, sorry, I forgot the little doohickey. This award acknowledges the scholar athlete that has worked tirelessly at practice. Though he wasn't progressing to his expectations of play, he continued working to improve his technique and scoring. Every day he proved to the coaches he was determined to do better than how he started. His confidence as a golfer and his determination to work smarter to become more consistent with his training habits, his willingness to be instructed has helped him to surpass his own expectations. Dubois family, your nominees are... It's on the back. All right, thank you. All right. Tayo Okubena. Zachary Lacey. Justin Lee Jr. And Terrell Scrawl Dennis. And the winner is, they're all winners, but most improved winners are Zachary Lacey and Justin Lee Jr. Oh, okay. They will all look in different ways.
Our presenter for the Pride Award will be Mike Morgan.
Okay, Pride Award. This scholar athlete embodies the W.E.B. Dubois Academy Creed and its 5 elements. P for perseverance, R for resilience, I for initiative, D for discipline, and E for empathy. He is a leader on the golf course and the classroom. This honoree leads our team with his actions and his willingness to take on tasks that others don't. He is the spirit of our team. Dubois family, your nominees are
Back page.
on the back page. Pride. Okay. Isaiah, what does it say? Coger?
Coger.
I follow Isaiah, I didn't know your last name. Levi Morgan. And Justin Lee Jr. Before I read the name, I'm going to say that pride is a tricky thing, right? Pride is one of those things that it could be good or bad, right? It's bad to be prideful, right? But it's good to be proud, right? And I think that you guys doing the things that you're doing right now on the golf course, in the classroom, is something to be proud of, right? And I would like to thank Mr. Sweeney for his history lesson, because what that showed you is that in the times where it was 100 times more difficult for black folk to get things accomplished, there was people that was getting things done. You guys have so much fewer obstacles, right? You have more opportunity, and you should be taking advantage of that as well. Just imagine, right? This Dr. Sweeney was able to accomplish opening up golf courses across Kentucky in the 1940s. This is before I was even born, so just imagine that, right? Like, so in the 1940s, and now in 2025, getting ready to be 2026, just imagine what you guys can accomplish. Just imagine that, right? Just think about that for a little bit. Just think about what you can do right now with the resources that are available to you. So I just wanted to put that out there. So the winner of the Pride Award is Levi Morgan.
Our next award is the Lionheart Award, and our presenter is our booster president, Madam Fields. Come on up.
I just want to thank you for that little tidbit, because it is so important to know the history. All right, so the Lion's Heart Award. This scholar athlete is tenacious in his efforts to perform at his best. His never quit attitude and perseverance, even while receiving continuous not so polite corrective instruction from his coaches. He always showed up motivated, ready to expect the next challenge to be better than yesterday. Dubois family, your nominees are Zachary Lacey, Tayo Okubeno, Isaiah Coger, and Terrell Scrodenis. The Lion's Heart Award goes to my heart, too, Isaiah Coger. When I read that it was the not so polite correction, I knew it was him.
I just want to add a little bit for Isaiah. He may not have wanted to show up sometimes, because I guess only two people really can understand what I kind of put him through, and that would be my wife Ilana and my son Garrison. And so his mom gave me that trust. Just treat him like your son. Might have been the worst advice she ever gave him. But this kid, when he does bad, he's basically in tears sometimes. So to me, but he continued to show up even when I was tough on him. And that reminded me a lot of Garrison. So that's why he's the winner. Goes without saying, the next presenter is Coach Hamilton. Future Lion.
So the Future Lion Award. This scholar athlete is receiving this award is expected to lead next year's team by his example, displaying leadership qualities at school when he wears his school uniform at golf practice and matches. This individual accepts this award as well as the responsibilities of being a mentor for his teammates and assisting them when asked. He is expected to be consistent presence in the off-season training and a coach when the coaches are not present. Past recipients laid the groundwork for our first high school team and have been an asset in the success of the W.E.B. Dubois golf program. And nominees. Let's see. Okay, presenters. Okay, the nominees are Zachary Lacey, Isaiah Koger, and Josiah Fleming. And the Future Lion Award goes to, drum roll. There we go, thank you. Oh yeah, Josiah Fleming. Yeah, come on up, man. There you go.
And I want to, I want to add this on. Next year will be a challenge for Josiah because he's going to have to step up with a little bit more maturity and a little more focus. The thing that I liked about Josiah was I kind of felt like his dad was the one pushing him into it initially. But then as he started to play and he started to listen and kind of find focus, he found out he could really play to the point where there were other coaches that we played against and said, if that kid would just focus, he could be pretty good. And so Coach Hamilton and I awarded Josiah this award because with the hopes that he will find that focus and be that force that he can be, not just in his play, but with our junior team that we will have, because we will have a much younger team next year. So congratulations, young man. Our final award of the night is my award. It's called the Coach's Lion Award. When I started this program with Coach Hamilton and I 4 years ago, we had a mindset of what we wanted it to be, and we had a good basis. We had 3 young men. Unfortunately, all of them left. One of the foundation of our program was a young man named Caden Whalen. Had all the great potential. Probably could have Garrison Mack, my son, and the last was Devin Story. Those 3, with their potential and the way they played and the way they grinded, you know, we fell into the product of the boys wasn't ready for high school at the time they were going, so they all had to go the best paths for them, and that kind of hurt it. But these young men came in. I mean, Zach's been with us from the beginning. Tyel's battled with it. Isaiah's battled with us. But the next recipients of this, and I'm going to go off script, and that is because the person that wins my award, I honor these 2 young men, and I'm just going to say who they are. They will be Levi Morgan and Justin Lee. You can stay seated. I'll have you come up shortly. These young men came out last year, and they battled through the whole summer, and they went into last season, and they had 2 matches the whole time. They went to Cherokee, and they had an in-team tournament that we played within ourselves. And they never, ever thought about quitting. Like, okay, you don't have anything for us. Even though they got to see our middle schoolers playing in championships, and they were new, believe me. You would have thought they were holding a 100-pound mallet when they would hold the golf club when they started. It was so hurtful to watch. So, but they never quit, and they stayed. And this year, now keep in mind, Justin, he didn't pick up a club. Levi didn't pick up a club till like May. And he finished in the regionals with the third out of 5, the third highest score on our team. This is a kid that only played 8 months of golf. And so I award these 2 young men, and I'll have them come up now, because of their commitment and their decisiveness to just stay with it. So please, gentlemen, congratulations. These will be our new Coaches Awards. And this one is Levi's. Congratulations, young man. Here, I'll give you the boxes so you don't break them, Justin, most importantly. All right, so, and I'll finish this up. This is the last thing we'll have here, and I'll make this brief so we can eat. First I will apologize, and I won't use it as an excuse, but I don't know if many of you know that our athletic director, LaQuinta Farmer, lost his mom Saturday, so her funeral is today. So a lot of things that we wanted in this last presentation have not come in yet. Our seniors, every senior that will come through this golf program, and I will be thankful to Mr. I know he wants to say Bill, but I'm calling Mr. Hamilton over there. He had a 1964 high school sweater, and I like that. I love that sweater. So we have for seniors, and I apologize that I left it at home, but it's not done yet. But what it would look like, it is a orange sweater that will be presented to Levi and Justin. It'll have a blue lion on the corner. It'll have the new D with golf down the side of it, and it'll have their graduating year on their shoulder. And it's taken from the 1960s, 1950s athletic sweaters. And then once we actually get everything in, the sweaters are in, but the decals haven't come in yet. Once we get that and have it put on, we'll have a picture so that you can see it. And that's my pledge to every senior that comes through our program will get that. Also, I need to recognize individuals that letter, will have letters. And what we have changed with us is your first year, you'll get your letter when you play varsity. You'll get your letter. Your second year, you'll get a hash to go on your sweater when you go that shows, and it'll say golf. It'll have a blue and have golf on it. So letters this year, once they come in, I will get those to you. Will be Zach, Lacey. You can stand up. Isaiah Koger. Josiah Fleming. And probably the most impressive of them all is the fact that with basically 2 years under his belt, an 8th grader qualified to play in the regionals as part of our team, and that's Tayo. Welcome back. So as soon as those come in, even though you at Ramsey, we'll make sure you get your letters, okay? So I thank you for your time. If I could just have a second to bless the food, and then it is buffet style. We have brisket, pulled chicken, mac and cheese, green beans, dinner rolls, and of course the drinks are here, and we have cookies.